Tonight's blathering is kind of California specific, but it might if you live in another state, you might find it interesting. Who knows? Anyway, I've been known to make a friendly wager or two on a sporting event in my lifetime, so props 26 and 27. I'm not going to say they're dear to my heart, but they're certainly interesting to me. Um, if you watch TV at all and you live in California, it's doubtless you've seen commercials for and against Prop 26 and for and against Prop 27. So if you're bewildered by all this, what I'm going to try to do in the beginning, I'm just going to say, just badge 714 Joe Friday, just the facts, man. I'm going to try to give you factually what these two props are about, and later in the video, I may or may not offer my opinion. I had to charge my phone before I did this. I had a false start. So while my phone was on the charger for half an hour, being the boomer that I am, I watched an episode of Jeopardy! I play along at home. Yes, I do. Anyway, during the course of a 30-minute Jeopardy! Episode, I saw four commercials, two each for the two props and two each against, for and against each of them, all four permutations. Anyway, years ago, and for my entire lifetime, you couldn't legally wager on sports online. Well, shit, most of my lifetime, there wasn't even an online. But certainly, when online became a thing, they were pretty quick. Actually, in 1992, the government banned sports wagering online. Well, apparently that changed on May 14th, 2018, which is where all this kind of starts. So I'm going to read this article to you from the New York Times, May 14th, 2018. It's only two paragraphs. Don't worry about it. The Supreme Court, May 14th, 2018. The Supreme Court struck down a 1992 federal law on Monday that effectively banned commercial sports betting in most states, opening the door to legalizing the estimated $150 billion in illegal wagers on professional and amateur sports that Americans make every year. The decision seems certain to result in profound changes to the nation's relationship with sports wagering. Bettors will no longer be forced into the black market to use offshore wagering operations or illicit bookies. Placing bets will be done on mobile devices, fueled and endorsed by the lawmakers and sports officials who opposed it for so long. Shout out to Pete Rose. A trip to Las Vegas to wager on March Madness or the Super Bowl could soon seem quaint. Okay, so first of all, people are betting online sports. Just like they drank during Prohibition, just like they smoked weed and still smoke weed, while it's illegal, just like they engage in virtually any thing between consenting adults. Betting on sports is not being stopped by the law. So, but again, I don't want to get into opinion. I want to get into what these two props are. So Prop 26, let's start with that one. What Prop 26 does is it legalizes in-person, not online, but in-person wagering at certain tribal casinos and certain racetracks throughout the state of California. It also, probably not really relevant to discussion, it legalizes table games in these casinos like roulette and craps. Why that's in the prop, I don't know, but it's part of it. Prop 27, on the other hand, legalizes sports wagering online throughout the state, not necessarily in person. So that's what it comes down to. 26 legalizes in person at certain locations. 27 legalizes online anywhere in California. Okay, so I'm done with the factual part of it. I'm going to jump into opinion. Now, first of all, when we talk about opinions, or when I talk about opinions regarding politics, first and foremost, if somebody doesn't agree with you, respect them. Disagreement doesn't make somebody evil, especially on something like this. So, after much, much thought, I am for Prop 27, and I was for Prop 26. But taking a closer look at some of the commercials that are anti-Prop 27, it seems to me, now I have to preface this with, I have been a huge supporter of the tribes for a long time. In 1980, a lot of money went from my pockets to the resistance at Big Mountain in Arizona. And a few years ago, a lot of my money from my pocket went to the water protectors at Standing Rock. Ever since, hey, I'm a boomer. So I grew up with the shoot 'em up, woo woo, tomahawk wielding savages on horseback, killing innocent settlers. And it was a pretty heavy revelation for me finding out who the good guys really were and who the bad guys really were. Well, we certainly were not the good guys. So, ever since that awakening, I've been very, very sympathetic to the tribes. But that being said, I gotta say, in my opinion, the tribes are being a little bit greedy here. They want a monopoly. I mean, to me, it would be fine if 26 and 27 both pass. And I'll get to that in a second also. 26 passes and 27 fails. Sports wagering will only be available at certain racetracks and certain tribal casinos. 27 passes and 26 fails, it'll be available online. I'm sorry to repeat myself, but just in case you don't get it yet. Now, if they both fail, we're right where we are right now. Gambling online, by the way, is legal in 30 states. California just doesn't happen to be one of them, and it's pending legalization in several others. So this is the world we're living in right now. It used to be unthinkable that if you're allowed to wager on sports legally, it would lead to all kinds of fixed games, corruption, and nastiness. But apparently, the powers that be in the sports world are at peace with this. So it's a fact of life right now in most of the country, just not in California. Now, it gets a little confusing. Now, so again, if they both fail, we're right where we are right now. If they both pass, it gets a little bit strange because Prop 26 stipulates that it's only legal in those places. And so if they both pass, I read somewhere that whichever one passes by a bigger majority is the one that rules. I don't know. But again, it seems to me if you look at who's sponsoring the anti-Prop 27 commercials, it's the owners of the biggest tribal casinos. And and what put me over the top with it was they kind of insulted my intelligence because what's happening is the sponsors of the Prop 27, which is FanDuel and DraftKings, are earmarking 10% of their profits for homelessness and tribes that don't have their own casinos. Well, the anti-Prop 27 people are crowing that 90% of this will go to the offshore, out-of-state corporations. Well, yeah, of course it will. Corporations are in business to make money. They're earmarking 10% of their profits, which means 90% of their profits go back to them. So maybe maybe a better argument would have been they're only giving 10% and should be giving more. But the way they talk, the way they phrase everything, and if you see some of these anti-27 commercials, there's one where a bunch of people in New York are laughing that California's going to send us all their money if they legalize Prop 27. So I don't like having my intelligence insulted, and I also am not a big fan of greed. And again, as much as I support and love the tribes, some of these tribes are being a bit greedy. That is just my opinion. And if you disagree, I'd love to hear from you. Drop me a private message on Facebook or Twitter, or drop a comment in the comments. I read and answer all comments. Anyway, there it is. Hopefully you now understand what these two propositions are. And I am not asking you to agree with me. I am only asking that when you do get to the voting booth or the mail-in ballot or however the hell you vote, that you make an informed decision and don't just flip a coin like so many of us do on so many of these props. So there you have it. This is the Blathering Boomer. Peace out.